Powered by GoGoat Sports in partnership with TSN. It is episode 47, season 4 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast. And as always, we're presented by our title sponsor, Canadian Club Whiskey. And kind of an eventful week so far here, Ray. You know, you'd think that post-trade deadline, it's downtime, right? I mean, it kind of is in the insider business. But Tiny, the Ray and Dregs mascot, along with co-mascot Ollie, Tiny was barking in the backyard going bananas. I don't know if you saw the picture or not, right?
I did.
I'm like,
a friend in there, eh?
Yeah, what the heck? So I go back there and I don't know, is it a possum or an opossum? It's probably the same thing. I'm sure I'll get corrected with anyone listening
Dregs,
to the
Dregs,
podcast.
The only thing I know about that is there's a Bugs Bunny cartoon from back in the day. and they go, is it possum?
Yeah.
That's the only time I know that word. It's from Bugs Bunny.
Exactly what my buddies said when I posted it in our WhatsApp group chat, right? They referenced Bugs Bunny. I was like, okay.
That's all I know. That's all I know, man.
So I get Tiny corralled back into the house because she's obviously, doesn't like this creature hanging on the inside of the fence. So I go back there and I'm like, well, this doesn't look great. I'm worried, is it sick? What's going on? I'm not going to touch it, but I'm also not going to smash it with a shovel. Like, I want to kind of give it the benefit of the doubt here. So by the time I run back into the house, I'm like thinking, all right, well, I'll grab an apple or something. This thing comes off the fence and just into the snow in my backyard. I walked about 5 feet away from it with about 6 sliced apples, and it just started gobbling, like it was starving. And an hour later, it was gone. So that's my good deed.
Well, don't worry. He'll be back with his family and friends. He'll be like, hey, the Dragers got apples.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you're going to have a family over there. Good thinking.
Yeah, well, so then I go out 10 minutes ago. We're recording here on Thursday. Front yard. The raccoon sitting there.
Sure. Yeah. They need places to live too.
And I mean, they're like glorified rats or squirrels, man. You don't want raccoons anywhere near your property.
No.
I mean, you're in your business, in your attic, any of that. It's just a bad look. So I shooed him away. He was not getting any of my produce. We got rid of the raccoon and helped out the possum.
Okay, so I have something. Today is Thursday. You said a lot happening this week. Our family had the most amazing day yesterday.
Good.
So my brother, Ed, my older brother, and his wife, Bridget, they have twins, Nick and Alicia. And Nick and Alicia are 34.
Okay.
And so Alicia lives in Kelowna, BC with her husband, and Nick lives in San Diego, California with his wife.
Wow, okay.
9 months ago, they get a phone call from Alicia that she's pregnant. And so they just can't believe it. They're just so excited, right?
That's awesome, yeah.
Later that day, they get a call from Nick. They're pregnant. The twin. They're pregnant. Same day, they get this phone call. So you can imagine how happy they are.
Yeah, super exciting.
Yesterday, March the 8th, Nick and his wife, Lauren, had baby Vincent at about 12:30 in the morning. So they have their baby.
Yeah.
And at 7:00, same day, Alicia and her husband Scott have their baby Oliver. So the twins had kids on the same day. Astronomical odds of this even happening. I just think it is the coolest thing.
So cool.
And so, our family is just so pumped. So congratulations to Nick and Alicia and Oliver and Vincent and Ed and Bridget, my brother and his wife, and just an amazing day for us.
Now, is your family, are they name sticklers? Like, will it be Oliver and Vincent, or will it be Vinny and Ollie?
You know what?
Too soon to say. It's pretty early.
Too soon to say, because I remember there was a time, 100%, it was Matthew, our oldest, and then all of a sudden it was Matt, and and it's Matt. I think his mother calls him Matthew once in a while, I think. But
when she's pissed off.
Yeah, probably. You know how that goes. I mean, my mom used to call me Raymond, and that was, but she called me Raymond all the time. but nobody else. I mean, I hadn't been called Raymond since I was like 10.
What's your middle name?
Vincent.
Ah, very nice. Did you ever get the Raymond Vincent?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
when I got Darren William, I was in trouble. There was a
Raymond Vincent meant you better snap to attention.
What an exciting time. That's tremendous.
Awesome.
The only thing that would make that even more ridiculously good would be if both twins had twins.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh, that would be something. So it was an awesome day. So yeah, all good.
Awesome. All right, let's pile into headlines here, right? And a few directions we're going to go here. But why don't we just kind of tackle some of the news of the week? And that's the Tony DeAngelo suspension, right? 2 games for spearing Corey Perry of the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, it was so obvious, even though he was trying to be sneaky, right? He's kind of poking around the outside of the scrum. And of course, Corey Perry is basically in the middle of it. And then the video's pristinely clear. The evidence is just right there. Just zips him right in the midsection. I don't know, man. You played the game a long, long time. You get away with what you can get away with. That's always been the case. It's hard now with all the looks, and that's primarily why the player safety department exists. But that's such a needless and mean-spirited play. And I mean, a spear can do significant damage.
Yeah, I was going to say very dangerous, right? Too.
2 games feels light to me. It feels light to me based on the circumstance and the evidence.
Okay, so there's times when there's a spear that happens, somebody's in a scrum and they're buzzing around and pissing each other off, and the guy kind of goes, beat it, boink, and hits the guy with his stick, right? And that's one thing. What DeAngelo did was he stepped into the pile to spear. I thought 2 games was way light. Look, Keandre Miller got 3 games for his spitting incident with Drew Doughty, and he should have. But DeAngelo's, you can't tell me on the scale of egregiousness that should be underneath. Like, Miller deserved 3 games. Yeah. DeAngelo deserved more than 2, is my point.
Right. So look, and this is no disrespect to George Parros, the head of player safety. I mean, it's a tough job. He's done it for a long, long time. So look, at the end of the day, he makes that call. I would be curious, Ray, if you polled every player in the NHL or alumni, ex-NHL player, and asked them what an act like that should earn by way of suspension, I feel like it's going to be 5 games minimum. If you polled the players, nobody would want that in the game.
No, I really, there are times I wish there was more of a firm template that, stick fouls are generally going to be between 2 and 5 games. A hit to the head is going to, an egregious hit to the head is going to be between 3 and 8 games. Like, however you want to divide it, you can look historically back over the suspensions, project them forward, and say, what do we want it to be? It really does feel at times as though it's just in the moment and this is the number. If I were doing the job, I would want the players to know there's more predictability for their actions.
Right.
Because I don't think they'd like that predictability.
Agreed. Let's shift to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And on your surprise meter, where are you with where this team is at right now? I mean, they're coming off the win over Philadelphia, but they get slaughtered by the Carolina Hurricanes 6-0 after the top line, if we fair to call them the top line in Stamkos and Point and Kucherov, get benched in the 3rd period. So the response wasn't there immediately versus the Hurricanes. Philadelphia Flyers aren't the same level of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So how surprised are you that this team is going through the funk that they're going, or is this just a byproduct of all the games over the last umpteen years?
I'm surprised like 6 out of 10.
Okay.
So I mean, the fact that they just got run over, Dregs, was surprising to me. I'm like, man, they weren't even in the game. No, Speed is an issue for Tampa. It really is an issue. Carolina is fast. That's a problem.
Yeah.
So if if they get stretched out in the game, like if they don't forecheck well, I think this might sound goofy, but the key to their defense is the way that they forecheck and keep the puck away.
Okay. Yeah.
If they get spread out and the puck starts getting moved with support and speed, they're in trouble. If you look at the team that won the first Stanley Cup in Tampa,
yeah,
to the one that lost in the finals last year, to this year's team, there's no competition. The first year's team wins in a landslide.
Yeah, that much better. Yeah.
And so now you add in the number of defections from that team. Hell, the number of defections from last year, right? Ryan McDonough, Ondrej Palat,
yeah.
like these are
a different group.
It's a different group. They're not as experienced. They're not as good. They're different. So you add the deletions to the number of games, and every dynasty, and I would say this is a modern dynasty, every dynasty fades away. And I, as much as Toronto's talked about all the things they're trying to do to get better and win a round, I think the fact that Tampa's declined a little bit,
yeah,
is a big factor not to be disregarded.
I agree. You just mentioned Ondrej Palat. I'm sure you saw the highlight, man. We did that game on Tuesday, New Jersey and the Leafs. He gets a stick in the mouth, and a fair bit of blood. I mean, clearly he was carved wide open above his upper lip, right? So he goes out, gets sutured, comes back onto the bench in record time, and scores a goal, right? I mean, talk about a gamer, but then at one point we isolate him. TSN isolates him on the bench. And I think it was Mike Johnson made the comment, he's trying to take a sip of water and it's leaking through the top of his lip, like not out of his mouth, like through the hole in the top of his lip. I mean, pro athletes are tough people. Men, women, they're all tough. I don't understand the level of physical and mental toughness, but every once in a while, you literally get a clear-cut example of how tough. And Palat showed that on Tuesday.
Dregs, I got hit in the mouth with a puck. Ron Hextall was our goalie, and he cleared it out of the zone, and I went to catch it. I was coming back in the zone, and I missed it. The puck went right between my thumb and forefinger.
Oh, no.
It hit me right in the mouth. And I think I got 16 stitches right down the middle of my, it split my bottom lip like wide open. So they stitch it back up. I go back into the game. First of all, the inside of my mouth is like hamburger. It's like so gross. And I'm like, the hell with it. It's a little graphic. You're chewing at it because there's part of your mouth hanging off inside.
You can't not.
Every time for the next week I tried to eat, I couldn't find a side of my mouth that wasn't more gross to chew on than the other side. And I'm like, and anyway, I got through it and I kept playing and I put a shield on and, played. Now, if I stub my toe coming off the curb, I'm down for a week. And I'm like, I look at these guys, like I looked at that Palat thing and I'm like, what the hell are these guys doing?
Yeah.
And the answer is, they're just playing. And because you're tough and you can hang in. Wait till he gets older. He'll be like, this is ridiculous.
This is crazy. Well, a heroic effort by Ondrej Palat. Similar for Marc-Andre Fleury in a different sort of set of circumstance. He makes 46 saves in a real good hockey game between the Winnipeg Jets and Minnesota Wild. Your good buddy, Dean Evison, has that Wild team dialed in. Now you worry about Kaprizov. That was a scary incident, man.
Okay, Dregs. He can have them as dialed in as he wants.
Yeah.
If Kirill Kaprizov's out of that lineup for any length of time, look out.
Yeah.
It's a major issue.
So they've got 11. They're on 11 game point streak.
Yeah.
So again, they're headed in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And it's such a comforting sign, I would think, for everyone, not just Dean Evison and Billy Guerin, who aren't playing the game, they're coaching and managing. For the players, when you see a veteran, a decorated goaltender, a future Hall of Famer, Marc-Andre Fleury, do what he did. I mean, Rick Bowness came out of that game last night, Ray, and he's like, we dominated. That's as well as we played in a long. I think they had 82 or 86 shot attempts.
Right.
And Fleury just nailed it down. So, I mean, for me, there's still a lot of hockey left in the regular season, but is that not just one of the purest ways of building confidence in your lineup was when your goalie has a game like that?
Well, and what would make that, yeah, I'm going to say yes, but what also would make that stick in Minnesota is it's not been a great run for Fleury.
No.
Over the last couple of months. Like, remember that trade in the summer that really nobody paid too much attention to, and that was Philip Gustafsson for Cam Talbot. Gustafsson saved their season. He's been fantastic for them.
Yeah.
And for Minnesota, he came at a low cost, which was even better. And so Fleury lost his way. And yeah, but I mean, we had him on the podcast, and I think it came across, but probably doesn't. But he's just such an amazing person.
Yeah.
And he's so positive all the time that while he's struggling, they've still got a great teammate.
Yeah.
And he's trying and he wants to get better and he's working hard. And he had a couple of spits and spots where he was good, then not so good. But for him to play like that, that will give that locker room more juice. It really will. Because there's nobody that I've ever heard of that's played with Marc-Andre Fleury that doesn't cheer for him.
No, fair point. Winnipeg now 1-5-2 in their last 8, headed in the wrong direction. Pierre-Luc Dubois hurt again. This one doesn't seem as serious, but you take such an enormous piece of the puzzle away when he's not in the lineup. Teams play that team differently. So they're neck and neck with the Colorado Avalanche in the battle, but still in the playoff fight. And we just talked about Fleury. Connor Hellebuyck isn't playing like a Vezina candidate right now. He was early in the year. Right now, he's not. So what are you seeing there when you analyze the Winnipeg Jets and where they're at right now?
Well, certainly Dubois' absence is a big problem. When they're running out Scheifele and Dubois, 1 and 2, the Jets are tough to handle. That's, Josh Morrissey's having an amazing season. And the play of Hellebuyck was the great eraser for any other issues that might be having. So he comes off, I don't know, 5%, 10%, maybe that much. Maybe it's not even that much. And all of a sudden the Jets are a different team. He's so critical to their success. So look at it now, and I'll look at it and tie it to the Calgary Flames. Jacob Markstrom's had by his standard, a brutal season. He just has not had a very good year.
No.
Well, they played back-to-back nights late last week, like on the weekend, and he was awesome. He had a 40-save shutout the second night. And so what if Markstrom gets on a run? This Flames team that's been a real disappointment this year, what if the goalies flip, right? If Hellebuyck's play slips a bit to the point it's at and he can't find it, and Markstrom's takes a leap. It's only 4 points.
Yeah.
And I mean, nobody's out of the woods yet there. That's for sure.
All right.
Do you know, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the Oilers and the Bruins tonight. So the people here are super excited, of course. Connor McDavid's only game here this season. How many points are the Oilers out of the conference lead? Don't look. How many points are they out of the conference lead?
Out of the conference lead.
Now they're in the wild card.
Yeah.
But I'm asking how many out of the conference?
4?
Yeah. Like these teams in this conference, they're
bonkers.
It is wild to this. And like if your schedule is the right way, you might be able to pick up points in a hurry. Because there's some teams here that are going to really get jammed up, Dregs, through the month of March.
Yeah. Not that it matters. It took a bit of heat on Twitter today. I was doing the Dustin Nielsen show in Edmonton this morning, as I do every Thursday. And we got talking about the Oilers, in comparison to the top teams in the league. And I'm like, well, how can you not compare them to the best teams in the league? I mean, as we have this conversation today, okay, they're in that wild card spot, but a couple of wins, they beat the Boston Bruins tonight. I mean, that's a tall ask, but that West is so all over the place that I think you have to include teams like Edmonton in that conversation of obviously being upper echelon.
When you do a game and you start, like you were doing the Leaf game the other night. I got the Bruins and Oilers tonight. So you dig in a little deeper maybe than you would normally look. Last 7 losses the Oilers have had, 36 goals against in 7 losses. Last 7 wins, 16 goals against.
There you go.
It's all right there. By the way, they couldn't have been happier, talking to Jay Woodcroft today and a couple of the guys with Matthias Ekholm. Oh. Like they're just thrilled that he was the defenseman that Kenny Holland was able to pull out of the pile and add to their blue line.
Yeah, and again, this isn't a shot at Jake Chychrun or Gavrikov or Joel Edmondson or anyone else. It's just from a coaching perspective, they identified Matthias Ekholm as the right, if not perfect fit.
Okay, so that's important because I think Jacob Chychrun is a great fit in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. I think he's a great fit for that team, their style, their youth, everything. I think Matthias Ekholm is a great fit in Edmonton, and I'm not sure if those two guys switched, if it would be considered such a great fit, at least in my eyes. I think those two players are in the right spots.
All right, those are your headlines. Looking forward to that game tonight, the Bruins and the Edmonton Oilers. And by the way, there's a weird one. So if the Bruins beat the Oilers tonight and the Buffalo Sabres, the Islanders, the Ottawa Senators, Ray, all lose in regulation, that locks down a playoff spot for the Boston Bruins, making them the first team in NHL history to clinch a playoff spot through 63 games. Like it's.
Can I tell you one other?
Huh?
Can I tell you maybe the most important thing I'm excited about tonight? So I'm not going to be down between the benches tonight. I'm with Steve Levy and AJ Malesko, and AJ is going to go down between the benches. So I'm upstairs. And can I tell you why that's such a critical thing here in Boston?
Yeah.
In outside where the TV booths are, they have like coffee and things there. Nobody in the league has a better candy aisle than the Bruins. And Dregs, I always start with a little cup.
You like the sweets.
Oh, those little M&Ms are going to get loaded up tonight.
So good. And did you have input into that decision?
Oh, no. It's there every game. Every game. So
no. You being upstairs and AJ being between the
benches. we talked about how we were both going to do the game. And
nice.
But this is a win for me, the candy dish. I'm a fan.
Well, she was a fan of your workout today, apparently.
So you know what? This is something with AJ. We should get her on. Harvard graduate, really sharp. She's
talented
great
woman. Yeah,
talented woman, does a great job on the air. She's a bit of a smart ass, and
I kind of get that. Yeah.
So 2 times in the last week. I don't know if you saw, she tweeted out when I was at the studio at ESPN and I was sitting in the chair that my legs were swinging on the chair.
Yeah. We had fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So she decides to tweet that out. And then today I mentioned that it was a little cold. I didn't want to walk over to the rink. And so when she said that I had a great workout, basically I sucked it up and walked over to the rink. So that's twice. I will get her.
Yes.
This is not ending the way she thinks it's ending right now.
The score needs to be settled or at least evened.
Even. I got to even. I don't got to win here, but there needs to be a retaliation. It will happen.